Welcome to Current Affairs with Faraz, your trusted source for unbiased, in-depth analysis of global geopolitical developments. In the vast expanse of the Atlantic, a high-stakes game of chicken between two nuclear powers has just sent shockwaves across the globe. An American seizure of Russian assets on the open water isn't just an incident. It's a bold move that could redraw the very map of global alliances.
Okay, so let's dive right into this. What exactly happened out there on the high seas that has suddenly put the entire world on edge?
So here it is, the core of the crisis. On January 8th, the U.S. Navy took physical control of two Russian commercial vessels. Now let's be clear, this wasn't a warning shot or another round of sanctions. This was a direct, kinetic action against assets belonging to another major world power. And this wasn't some random encounter. This was a meticulously planned operation. The U.S. had been tracking these ships, the Bella I and the MT Sophia, for more than a month, just waiting for the right moment. And look at where they struck, in two completely different parts of the world, one south of Iceland, the other in the Caribbean. That shows some serious coordination and reach. Of course, Russia's response came quickly. They confirmed they lost contact and are now dispatching their own fleet. That's the kind of rapid escalation that has everyone, well, deeply concerned.
This quote from Ajmal Jami really nails it. This isn't the U.S. putting pressure on a smaller, regional nation. This is something else entirely. It's a direct and very open challenge to a global giant like Russia. The gravity of that can't be overstated.
So you have to ask, what's the strategy here? This wasn't just a random act of aggression. It seems to be the first major move under a new and very aggressive American foreign policy doctrine. And the justification, well, it didn't come through quiet diplomatic channels. No, it came loud and clear, right from the top, and it laid out a very unambiguous economic and strategic goal. I mean, there's really no room for interpretation here, is there? The administration is openly stating its intent: seize the oil, sell it, and control the profits. Now, it's framed as being for the benefit of both the American and Venezuelan people, but the mechanism is a direct U.S. takeover of another nation's key resource.
And if you thought that was direct, listen to this from a senior White House advisor. This statement is even more revealing. It frames the seizure not as a one-off incident, but as the new standard operating procedure. The message is pretty blunt. Diplomacy is out, dominance is in.
So what we're seeing is the birth of a formal doctrine. It's a clear signal to the rest of the world that the United States intends to use its unmatched military and economic power to write the rules and enforce them, with or without anyone else's agreement.
But look, a doctrine is only as credible as the power that backs it up. So can the U.S. actually pull this off? A quick look at the raw data really shows the staggering imbalance that makes a policy like this even possible.
The sheer scale of the U.S. defense budget is just mind-blowing. It's not just bigger than other nations, it's in a completely different universe. It absolutely dwarfs the spending of the largest powers in its own hemisphere. A conventional military challenge is, frankly, almost impossible.
And the numbers here just tell the story. Over 1 million active personnel, more than 13,000 military aircraft, 440 naval assets. The U.S. military is in a league of its own. To put it into perspective, if you combined the military hardware of all these other nations put together, it wouldn't even come close. This is the raw power that makes a strength, force, and power doctrine more than just words.
And this is what sustains it all. By spending over 3% of the world's largest economy on defense, the U.S. has built a military capability that allows for the kind of unilateral action we just saw.
An action of this magnitude doesn't happen in a vacuum. It creates ripples, big ones. It forces other nations off the fence. This seizure is basically acting as a powerful catalyst, accelerating the formation of new global alliances as countries start to reassess their security and choose sides.
And we're already seeing the potential shape of this new world order. Look at these emerging blocs. The partnerships are fascinating and in some cases historically unprecedented. An India-Israel-UAE-Russia axis is potentially forming, countered by a Pakistan-China-Turkey-Saudi Arabia alliance. This isn't just a reshuffling of the deck. Old rivalries are being set aside for new strategic goals in a world where American power is being asserted so aggressively.
And these aren't just abstract theories, okay? We can see the pieces moving on the board right now. High-level diplomatic moves, like India's leader tweeting in Hebrew to Israel, that's a huge public signal. And strategic military discussions, like a potential Israeli base in the UAE, these are concrete signs of this realignment. The reaction from powers like Saudi Arabia shows just how quickly these new lines are being drawn.
So the seizure of 2 oil tankers may have just been the opening move in a much larger and far more dangerous global game. It has unveiled a new, more aggressive doctrine of American power, and it's forcing the rest of the world to react. As these new alliances solidify and competing interests collide, the question on everyone's mind is, where will the next flashpoint erupt? Thanks for joining Current Affairs with Faraz. Subscribe for more real analysis, and we'll see you in the next update.